Hafa Day and welcome back to another episode of CNMI Weekly, where we recap the latest headlines and bring you what you need to know heading into the weekend. I'm your host, Thomas Manglona, reporting on Saipan. In our first story, it was shocking news. Hyatt Regency Saipan announced that it's closing its doors after 4 decades. Here's more. After 4 decades, Hyatt Regency Saipan announced it will be closing its doors on June 30th. The president of Saipan Portopia Corporation, which owns the hotel, Hitoshi Nakauchi, said in a statement, "Despite our best efforts and after months of careful consideration and exploring many avenues, the harsh realities of the current landscape have forced us to make the difficult decision to close this special place." It comes 2 years after they renewed their public land lease with the CNMI government for 40 years. NMI Governor Arnold Palacios commented on the news after a proclamation signing ceremony for Tourism Month.
This is very unfortunate, disappointed, saddened at the same time.
He said he learned about the closure at the same time as the public.
We're going to have to pick up the pieces and move forward. What are our options? We're going to have to clearly and deliberatively identify those.
The governor said his legal counsel, the Attorney General, and the Department of Public Lands are mapping out the next steps as they review the lease agreement. Palacios also instructed the Department of Labor to assist hotel employees in the transition. Marianas Visitors Authority Managing Director Chris Concepcion explained the state of the tourism industry during the proclamation event.
We still have less than half the total number of arrivals that we've had before the pandemic.
The Saipan Chamber of Commerce has been alerting lawmakers about the dire circumstances.
The chamber, has been predicting this, and we have raised the flag and said this is what's going to happen, and it's happening now. I don't want to name names, but there are other major operators in the CNMI that have indicated to me personally that things are not looking good for their operations.
Meanwhile, the Hotel Association of the Northern Marianas, which includes Hyatt, reported a 38% average occupancy rate last year. They said they begin to make a profit at 80% and are in survival mode. They said in a press release, "The current situation is unsustainable. Failure to act will almost certainly result in more business closures." And with that announcement from Hyatt Regency Saipan, the CNMI Governor Arnold Palacios has asked the Department of Labor to assist the 146 workers who will be impacted when the hotel closes in June.
It's sad to see Hyatt go, but we know that we'll be able to absorb all of the different employees they have and what they can do at other employment opportunities.
The NMI Department of Labor is helping the 146 Hyatt Regency Saipan employees who will be out of a job at the end of June after the hotel announced its permanent closure. Nearly all of their employees are U.S. qualified workers.
We have high hopes that every person at Hyatt will be able to find new employment.
At the instruction of the governor, DOL's Workforce Investment Agency launched a rapid response team to connect hotel staff to services that match their individual needs.
We already have plans on creating information session next week as early as Monday and Tuesday to kind of provide the affected employees with the resources and information they would need to make informed decisions on where their next career path would be. Alongside that, we will be partnering up with the Division of Employment Services during this initiative, and we also have plans on creating a job fair just for these employees.
The Department of Labor said it met with hotel management the day after they announced their plans to close.
We actually do have awareness of different properties that are seeking for employees. And so being able to line them up and collaborate and be that middleman is what we are here for. We're ready to stand and serve our community and see what we can do to help people transition in this tough change.
And just as we heard news of Hyatt closing on Saipan, Hong Kong Airlines has also returned this week, marking its first flight post-pandemic to Saipan. Hong Kong Airlines is back, making its first trip to Saipan post-pandemic. It was a special island welcome back to Hong Kong Airlines as it landed at the Saipan International Airport at 2:30 a.m. Monday. KUAM was there as its nearly 300 passengers on board the twice-weekly flight were greeted by a water salute and local dancers. They ushered in the first visitors flying directly from Hong Kong in 5 years.
We all understand in the industry that this is a very large and very important source market for the world. And so this is our first step back into that market since COVID.
We are very happy and grateful that the Hong Kong Airlines coming in back to Saipan, CNMI. I think it's good for our economy, and the more airline comes here, the more revenue, the more jobs that we have. So we are very, very happy.
Hong Kong Airlines Chairman Jeff Sun piloted the plane. Marianas Visitors Authority officials were on board and participated in a celebration in Hong Kong before takeoff.
Where they are already talking about increasing flights. Hopefully this summer and then beyond, and maybe something daily soon. So it's a glimmer of hope for a beautiful plane, for wonderful pilot, chairman, and for really excellent customer service that is now part of Mariana's experience. We thank you and welcome you back.
With that potential for more flights, it's an investment that travel agencies are also betting on.
A couple travel agencies have bought blocks of seats per flight. There are maybe 60 or so additional seats that are available for sale to the general public.
We'll have more CNMI Weekly right after this. Welcome back to another episode of CNMI Weekly. In our next report, we go to the Saipan Chamber of Commerce General Meeting this month, where a military official shared the latest updates from the Department of Defense. What is the state of regional security?
The People's Republic of China is becoming more and more aggressive. Stark examples in the South China Sea, and continued dangerous and aggressive activity is creating unnecessary risk. Second, basically that has created that we are in a state of managed tensions in the region. That's not just us, the United States, but also all of our partners. The three major states that threaten us, Russia, China, and North Korea, are taking unprecedented actions that challenge the international norms.
U.S. Marine Corps Forces Pacific Executive Director Mark Hashimoto briefed the Saipan Chamber of Commerce on the ongoing efforts in the Marianas.
So all of you business leaders, you think about this, and you ask us this a lot. What keeps you up at night? Okay, this is how military leaders will answer. Number one is that something big or something small is going to turn into something big. Okay, that's how World War I started. We want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Number two, that what we call indications and warning, that we miss something. We're keeping an eye on things to an excruciating detail, but that doesn't mean we're perfect, and a lot of effort goes on, on the part of our adversary to try and hide what they're doing. And number three, what keeps leaders up at night in the military is the notion that we might have to send Marine, soldier, sailor, airman, guardian into harm's way without being properly trained.
He was asked by a Saipan business owner how the CNMI can balance the need for tourists from China with national security concerns. Hashimoto pointed out that military leaders do not advise politicians on how to strike that balance, but he admits that while China is an adversary,
that does not mean that there is not space for cooperation. There clearly is, even within the military realm. We think that there is space for cooperation, something like humanitarian assistance or disaster relief.
And in our next report, the CNMI judiciary celebrates its 35th anniversary as it proclaims this month for different causes. The Northern Marianas judiciary marked a major milestone, its 35th anniversary, with the wheels of justice moving towards the future.
The judiciary of today is not the same as the judiciary of 1989. We've actively engaged, no longer silent observers waiting for cases to come to the courthouses. We are reaching out to the public.
The proclamation ceremony was described as a Super Friday, combining the celebrations of the anniversary, Law Week, and Treatment Court Month.
And our judiciary has evolved to begin to serve the greater needs, the evolving needs of our community. Case in point is the drug court. Case in point is the mental health court that was just recently established. And the outreach that it continues and continues to expand its role to help members of our community.
This year's Law Day theme is Voices of Democracy, focused on deepening the understanding of the electoral process, discussing issues in honest and civil ways, turning out to vote, and helping to move the country forward after free and fair elections. The court echoed that message loud and clear.
The judiciary is open to everyone, ready to provide justice and support to all. And so, that's the new face of the judiciary, modern and forward-thinking.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of CNMI Weekly. I'm Thomas Manglona, and we'll see you right here, same time, same place next week.